Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead. We're so happy to have you join us on this video this morning. As all of you know, our videos focus on three basic things: emergency preparedness, food security, and self-reliance. And actually this video is going to go to all three of those because we're going to be talking about a very important topic that has been renewed in recent years. 5 years ago, we did a video that is very similar to this. Well, it's similar on the same topic, which is cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. But things have changed since 5 years ago. COVID has come on the scene. More and more food is being recalled because of listeria and other foodborne illnesses. I just read in my news feed on my phone yesterday that there is a new flu-like virus that is fast moving. And so there is increased importance for us in our homes to be sure that we can keep things as germ-free as possible. And so keeping things generally clean is certainly a good target goal for all of us. But a layer under that is to think about what areas of our home really need to be kept as germ-free as possible. So in thinking about that, what do you think the areas are? I'm sure, since I'm standing here in the kitchen in front of my counter, many of you might have gone directly to, well, food prep areas need to be kept germ-free as possible. And that is very true. That is number one or number two on most lists that I looked at. Also, areas that need to be germ-free are your bathroom. Sinks in the bathroom, the toilet, the floor, and then any place where infants are changed, diapered, whatever, those areas need to be kept as germ-free as possible as well, because they are susceptible to exposure by pathogens. Then other places in our homes that we need to think about and do our cleaning, disinfecting, sanitizing steps include doorknobs. And we really learned that in COVID. There was a big push to remember to wipe off our doorknobs, and then light switches. And so if we're going to be keeping those things germ-free, and especially focusing on areas where pathogens are most likely to gather, what are the best products to use? What does the EPA say about the definitions that separate these three things? Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now. And again, I went to the EPA for these. These are in order of the amount of germs that are killed. So the first thing that we always need to do is to clean using soapy water or detergent to physically remove dirt, grime, and germs from the surface. Now, it is important that we actually do use soap and water to scrub these areas or wipe down these areas before we do either sanitizing or disinfecting. Now, the way I do it right here on my countertop, and mine is granite, so I also have to be very careful in terms of the products that I use that it will not break down this stone. And most natural stone, you need to avoid acid, so we need to keep that in mind. So I just have this little plunge soap dispenser that I just drop 2 or 3 drops of soap, and then with a wet rag I will wipe it off and rinse it off, and then and only then am I ready to go to either sanitizing or disinfecting. Now, the EPA warns, as well as others, articles that I read, really warn that you need to do this step first. Don't start sanitizing until you have cleaned, because germs can hide under the dirt and grime. One of the things that I learned while doing this more recent research is about cleaning, and it is going to change the way I do cleaning. Dishcloths like these are the ones that I, until I did this research, used to use on my countertop and with my dishes. But there was a study that was done on microfiber cloths. So a while back, we picked up this bundle of microfiber cleaning cloths, and they've just sat on our shelf for what, Jim, about 6 months?
Something like that.
we have some older ones that we use when we've needed to, but here is a microfiber cloth. And according to the research report that was included in some of the things that I read, is that microfiber cloths, when used for cleaning with soap and water, can remove up to 90% of the germs. And so I was pretty impressed with that. So from now on, I'm going to be replacing my old cloths with these microfiber cloths for use in the kitchen. And so that's one of the things that is new to us that we're going to institute starting today. So the cleaning part is not intended to kill anything. It is intended to physically remove as much as we can. Now that's the EPA definition of the cleaning, is to physically remove dirt, grime, germs from any areas that we're wanting to further clean. So then the next step is to sanitize. And to sanitize, we need to use a chemical that will kill bacteria on the surface. It is not intended to kill viruses. Now here's where things get a little bit murky, because a lot of cleaners on the market today, though they claim to be sanitizers, also include some viruses like HIV, like the COVID virus, like the flu virus. And so this is where it gets a little bit murky, and I'll show you that what we're going to be focusing on reading labels as well, and that will help us decide. And then the next level of kill, a higher kill, is going to be disinfect. And this is where we intend to get to actually kill viruses and bacteria on surfaces. And so it usually takes a stronger, or at least a different, chemical in order to kill those viruses. They're tougher to kill. So when we talk about killing and how much killing goes on, I used to be able to distinguish between sanitizing and disinfecting by how much the kill rate was. Now, supposing that we had on this countertop, and you will see on labels, kills 99% of germs, kills 99.9% of germs. Germs is a catch-all that is often used to describe anything that can hurt us. Any kind of a pathogen that can hurt us, whether it is a bacteria, a virus, a mold, a yeast, whatever. Those are just lumped in today's vernacular into the word germs. So it will kill 99.9% of germs, or 99.99, or even 99.999%. And so as we look at these, and with our mathematical understanding from high school, is there really a big difference between these? Well, I guess it depends. It depends on what it is that you are measuring. In this case, we are measuring germs, and germs are very, very tiny, and hundreds of thousands of them can be in a single location in our homes. They can cluster and cover everything depending on a situation. So if we were to say that we had 100,000 germs on this countertop right here, and I used a chemical that was 99% kill, how many germs would I have left? That would be 1,000. So that's a pretty good reduction. It's a 99% reduction, but I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with 1,000 germs being left on my countertop. So what if I found a cleaner that was 99.9? How many germs would be left then? Those of you that are quick with math are going to know that it goes down this way. So that is 100. 99.999 would leave us 10 germs, and 99.39s would leave us 1 germ. And so in terms of pathogens, yes, these numbers really can make a difference. And what do we want to do? Well, one of the things that we might just jump to is, oh, well, I want this one all the time. I want to be able to have this all the time. Well, the EPA does not recommend that for all the time, because there are some things to consider when we start using chemicals. We have that point of diminishing returns. So yes, we can get everything but one germ left, but then there might be other effects on our health, whereas leaving 10 or leaving 100 really has a far less probability of impacting our health than the original 100,000 germs did. So here they are, products for home use. I've listed them here, and they're right here in front of us. So we're going to go through them one at a time. The list includes Clorox, Clorox wipes, Steramine, hydrogen peroxide, vinegar, and then I have right here others with a note to please read the label before you select it. So the ones that I use and that I feel are most effective for our needs are right here in front of us. The first is Clorox. So let's go through these one at a time, and I'll give you some of the criteria for each one. Clorox is indeed approved by the EPA. If you look on the label, you can find the EPA number. You just have to look for it. The killing agent, the chemical that is EPA approved and used in Clorox, is sodium hypochlorite. And so the chlorite has chlorine, and we all smell that chlorine gas when we are using it. It sanitizes, it disinfects. Right here on the back of the label is a table that gives you all different kinds of uses, different dilutions, and different wait times once you spread it out on whatever it is you're going to be doing. So just be sure that you follow the label on that. It cannot be used directly on food. It cannot be used directly on skin. The wait time is between 1 and 2 minutes. The EPA requirement for a killing agent to be effective is the minimum criteria. Minimum criteria is 99.9 kill in 60 seconds. So that 99.9, as you remember, leaves 1,000 out of 100,000. And so that is fine for most instances. Actually, now that we have these up, I'm going to leave this back up because I might refer to this from time to time. Okay, so the wait time is 1 to 2 minutes, depending. Now, the downside of Clorox is this. Two major things. First of all, it can be hazardous to our health. It is highly alkaline. The fumes, if we breathe them, can be damaging to our health as well. Those fumes are chlorine. The chlorine it naturally occurs as a gas. If it had a brain and had desires, it would want to be a gas. And so it escapes that liquid as often as possible. And so the shelf life diminishes rapidly because the chlorine escapes. And the shelf life for a big jug of Clorox like this is between 6 months and a year. And that's why it is fine if you go to the store and get a fresh bottle to do whatever you're going to do in your home. But it is not good for storing, for emergency preparedness, because after 6 months to a year, you'll open up a jug like this that's been out there on your shelf 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you'll find that it's full of water with a lot of precipitated salts at the bottom. Totally ineffective. And so it's best to look for something else if we're not going to have an ongoing supply of Clorox that we can replenish every 6 months. Next are and the Clorox advertises right here 99% 9 of germs. Here are the Clorox wipes. It is also EPA approved. The killing agent, you might think, since it says Clorox on it, that it is also sodium hypochlorite, but it is not. It uses a different killing agent that is also approved by the EPA, and killing agents are approved as well as products being approved, so that's kind of two things. Most products will use one of the EPA approved killing agents, which makes a lot of sense. And so the killing agent for this one is quaternary ammonium. And that is, the word ammonia is in there, so don't think that it is household ammonia. It most certainly is not. Far more powerful than household ammonia. So this quaternary ammonia is a great killer of germs. It also advertises that it kills 99.9% of all viruses and bacteria. So this one it sanitizes, it disinfects, it sanitizes. It disinfects because it kills viruses. You cannot use this on food or on your skin, and the wait time on this is 60 seconds. It particularly says that you need to use the wipe to make whatever it is you are wiping visibly wet for 60 seconds. Otherwise, the killing is not quite as effective as it otherwise would be. I use Clorox wipes for things like light switches and doorknobs. Next is Steramine. Steramine is my very, very favorite. I really, really like it. Steramine is tablets. There are 150 tablets in this little bottle. The tablets are kind of a purplish color. You see here that I have a half a tablet, and that is because, and following the label, it is 1 to 2 tablets per 1 gallon of water. And so here is the other half of a tablet that I have used to make up the bottle that I just made up this morning of Steramine. Notice that it is blue when it's first made up. This one long ago lost its blue color, but it is still every bit as effective as this blue one. Now, Steramine is widely used as a sanitizer, especially in the restaurant business. It is used in a typical 3-sink operation where restaurants are required by the food service regulations in every state to have 3 sinks. One is hot soapy water, one is rinse, and then one is a sanitizer, and most likely that third sink contains a Steramine solution. And it is a rinse solution, and then they just let it dry. We use Steramine on my countertop here, on our all of our equipment, like our meat grinder. I will spray those parts with the Steramine, and our sausage stuffer that we've just recently acquired. All of those things we do the wash, rinse, and then sanitize, and then we let the liquid dry. So the kill chemical here is also quaternary ammonia. It is a sanitizer. It's advertised as a sanitizer. It is one of those that sits on the fence because it also kills some viruses. So it does do some disinfecting as well. Do not use Steramine on food, directly on food. Don't use it directly on your skin. It is very easy to use. There's no downside for using it. And it is a 60-second wait time once you have applied it. Now, I will apply it and on my countertop and let it sit for a minute. And then I take a paper towel and get up most of it, and then I let the rest of it just air dry after that. And I use Steramine all the time. We have a bottle in our trailer. We have a bottle right here. I use it in the bathrooms. It is my main go-to sanitizer. Next up is hydrogen peroxide. Now, household hydrogen peroxide is 3%. The hydrogen peroxide 3% that you buy in your drugstore it does not have an EPA number on it. Even though it does do a lot of really good things, one of the main reasons is because it takes 5 minutes to kill. And so that knocks it out of EPA approval. But hydrogen peroxide, and there are different dilutions for different things. I'm going to put a couple of links down below that will take you to some articles that will tell you what the dilutions are and what you can use. And also, they also have a list of things that you should not use hydrogen peroxide for, so you can check those out. Then with hydrogen peroxide, it does sanitize and disinfect. You can use hydrogen peroxide directly on food. You can use it on your skin, and it takes a 5-minute wait time. Now with vinegar. Vinegar is not EPA approved. The killing agent there is citric acid, which is good on some things. It is a very, very weak sanitizer. Again, I could not find any dilution information, so you may have to go in search of that if you want to use vinegar. But when used in the correct dilution, it is a weak sanitizer that is effective against E. coli, salmonella, and listeria, which is really good, but it doesn't do much good for much else. And I could not find any other information in terms of any kind of wait time. So that is basically the rundown on these sanitizers and disinfectants that we use. Now, when you go to the grocery store, you will see how expensive these things are. And so that is the reason that I choose Steramine. Shelf life for the tablets of 10 years. And I use a half a tablet. And for the price that I paid, it cost me 4 cents to do a quart of Steramine. That is every bit as effective as a sanitizer and a disinfectant as Lysol is, or as some of the dilutions for Clorox. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the products underneath the video in case you want to just check it out. I get mine through Amazon. So let's take a quick look at how we read the labels on these. When you are in the grocery store looking for a good sanitizer or a disinfectant, don't just pay attention to the price. It may have this 99.9%. That's what most of them do these days, because that's the minimum requirement for an EPA approval. But check for that EPA approval on the back. And then look for sure at what the cautions are, at what the storage and disposal requirements are. Please pay attention to those. Pay very close attention to the directions for use, and don't go outside of the range of things that it says that you can use it for. And then just know what the directions are. If it is a product that you can dilute, make sure that you follow those dilution requirements precisely so that we don't develop any kind of a superbug by partially killing and then leaving the stronger ones behind to reproduce, and then they will turn into a superbug. When we think about the times in which we are living and the things that are going on all around us, it is very important that we choose sanitizers that have the least harmful effect on us as humans, balancing that with the most powerful effect on today's germs. And that we think about what we can store long term so that we don't pick up 5 years later a bottle of Clorox that is just water with precipitate salts at the bottom. So we need to be smart about this. So thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate your support in all the things that we do, and we will see you very soon for more videos.